Hey, my name is Seb, and today I wanted to take a look at the Creator DLC program for Arma 3, also known as the CDLC program. From time to time I get asked what CDLC is worth getting and what actually separates a CDLC from any modification you can find on the Steam Workshop. I also see a few misconceptions about what a CDLC actually is, and I wanted to help clarify just that. So first off, a CDLC is downloadable content for Arma 3, created by third-party studios, but published through Bohemia Interactive that owns the Arma IP. So it's not Bohemia Interactive creating the content, it's the third-party studio. And since its inception in 2019, we have had 5 official CDLC. In 2019, Global Mobilization, developed by Vertex Mox, opened the show, followed by S.O.G Prairie, developed by Savage Game Design, released on the 6th of May 2021. And 2021 must have been a busy year, because the same year we had 2 more CDLC released, with CSLA Iron Curtain, developed by CSLA Studio, released on the 16th of June, and later the same year, Western Sahara, developed by Rotators Collective, was released in November. And finally, now in July of 2023, Spearhead 1944, developed by Heavy Ordnance Works, is the latest to be released. Now, since these CDLC are all different in theme and size, it's all very subjective and it depends on your personal preferences, and I will try and give you some pros and some cons with them all so you can make a more informed decision on which one you want to buy. What I'm gonna do is that I will list them from 1 to 5, starting with the one I think you should buy first, and then moving down the list. Keep in mind that this is just my preference, and you can of course pick up every one of these if you so desire. This might just help you in the order that you could do so. Okay, and with that out of the way, let's start with my personal favorite. Western Sahara. Yes, this CDLC nailed everything it set out to do. The theme is centered around the sprawling landscapes and hot desert of the fictional Safra Ramal of Western Sahara. There you play as a military contractor deployed to the dunes of Ghana. This new addition to Arma 3 takes you to a hot conflict zone between tribes and peacekeeping forces. It brings back Arma's iconic Ion PMC faction from Arma 2, and it introduces new vehicle variants, weapons, clothing, gear, as well as single player and multiplayer scenarios. And I will say that the terrain is small but very creative, it's beautiful, and it's original. The assets are all well crafted and memorable, especially the gun shooting drones and the deployable shields. The game modes are super original and creative, especially Alchemist and Extraction. Extraction is basically open world gameplay where you try and locate a missing journalist held prisoner and extract him. The price is also great. I don't really have any drawbacks with it, because it's such good value for the price. I can't help to put this on number 1, but right behind it, I highly recommend what seems to be the community favorite, S.O.G Prairie. Get ready to experience the brutal intensity of the Vietnam War, developed with the help of actual Vietnam veterans and Vietnamese advisors. S.O.G Prairie immerses you deep within the enemy territory as a member of a covert special ops unit called MACV S.O.G. It truly is an Arma 3 experience unlike many others. Now, this CDLC has undoubtedly some of the highest quality assets and the largest variety of weapons, equipment and gear from the era. It has a great veteran and community support system, as well as a very clear passion shown by the developers. Mike Force, the game mode, is also super fun, and it has a co-op campaign that is excellently crafted together with real Vietnam veterans. The custom soundtrack is also just amazing. The only downside is that it can be a performance hitter on low-spec PCs, and the price can be a bit intimidating, but personally I do believe it's worth its weight in gold. Now let's continue to the third entry, and it's the newest kid on the block, Spearhead 1944. In Spearhead 1944, you are deployed into World War II Normandy, so grab your rifle and prepare to experience combat in the bocage of inland France. In my opinion, World War II content has always been very intriguing, and this CDLC places you in the boots of the soldiers of the 2nd Armor Division fighting to liberate occupied Normandy. The main focus is centered around Operation Cobra. That was a real operation that took place in late July after the beach landings on D-Day. Spearhead 1944 has the best campaign of any of the CDLC, and it even rivals some of the official DLC. It's filled with impressive voiceover work and sound effects, and the terrain is also very excellent. Spearhead has been many years in the making, and it's an excellent core CDLC that you can use together with existing mods to really make the World War II theme complete. Since it's new and it's probably still awaiting some updates down the line, I can't rank it any higher than this. And my biggest drawback is probably the performance when fighting in the bigger cities. I personally see it, with a few updates, to be on par with the next entry on the list, Global Mobilization. Global Mobilization is perhaps the most underrated CDLC available right now. It received mixed reviews upon release because of the bugs it had. And GM was the first one out of the trenches in 2019, and it took a lot of unnecessary hate it probably did not deserve. Today it's one of my favorite CDLC because of the amount of content it delivers. GM is based on the Cold War tension between East and West Germany. It has had 3 major updates since it released, and therefore it has a ton of assets. The terrain, the Völlingen, has both summer and winter versions, and this CDLC really nails the feeling of Cold War, East versus West Germany. The negative is that the single player is slightly underwhelming, and it was notoriously buggy, although it might have been better since it was released, at least since last time I played. And from one Cold War to another, we're going to the last entry on my list, which is CSLA Iron Curtain. Now, CSLA is the second CDLC to be set in the Cold War, as I said, and was released shortly after the highly acclaimed S.O.G Prairie fire. This CDLC received a lot of criticism for how it released, and a lot of the criticism was aimed at the lower quality assets it delivered and the stiff price for said assets. What it does have is a good terrain. If you are very into Cold War history and 90s 80s gear and equipment, you should probably check it out, and you'll probably have a good time with it. Many of the bugs that riddle the early launch has probably been taken care of, but honestly I haven't played much of it since. Now this completes my short guide to the CDLCs you can buy for Arma 3. I hope you found this helpful and that it guides you making a more informed decision on your purchase. Now let's try and answer the question: are these CDLC just paid mods? Okay, the question: are these CDLC just paid mods? And the opinions on this will vary greatly. Obviously, Bohemia themselves don't consider CDLC to be paid mods. They believe that these DLC packs would not have otherwise existed in terms of quality and scope without the CDLC program. Bohemia also believes Creator DLC should never replace something that was already available for free on the workshop, so like a CDLC Ace mod wouldn't happen. Any team out there with a good plan and a vision for their content can apply to become part of the CDLC program. You see, doing it like this creates an opportunity for outside talented developers to earn a financial reward through sales, while also making it possible for Bohemia Interactive to invest more into the Arma series and its long-term future. I personally think what separates it the most is the team commitment to long-term support and post-launch release. A regular mod may, for the most part, be created by solo developers, and this makes the mods much more vulnerable to miss updates, break or lose support because of other life commitments. After all, mods are often passion projects and are rarely started for economic reasons alone. Is the CDLC program in its current form the best solution for smaller mod teams? Probably not, I'm not sure. But I'm sure many people will shy away from it for their own reasons. But to answer the question, you are paying for additional content in Arma, maps and assets that are often made from scratch. That is being supported by dedicated teams that can deliver a package on par with official DLC for Arma. And for that reason, I think it elevates it just enough to not be just a paid mod. Now that's all from me. Do you think the CDLC program is good or bad? Comment down below, make sure to subscribe for more Arma 3 videos, and until next time, stay safe.